Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Roberts, and I was just going to record a little bit of a tutorial for you in creating a graph. I know it's been a long time for some of you since the last time you've made one, and since you have done the Oreo Cookie Lab, I figured I would use that data to help you remember how to put a graph together. So there's a couple of different programs that you can use to make a graph. You've probably been using Microsoft Excel, or maybe you used the Create a Graph website that I linked on Schoology. But one of the newer formats that you can use that I think is really easy is Google Sheets, which is just like a Google Doc, but it looks like a spreadsheet. And it has a lot of the same features as Microsoft Excel. So I've got a Google Sheet open. I've just called it Oreo Cookie Data, and I've put some phony numbers in here to use to help you see how this is done. So the first thing that you can notice is that I've created a table. Let's just say these are some numbers that I collected. Regular Oreos, double stuffed Oreos, and then I have my trials over here. You can create your table in two different ways. You can do it in a way that maybe would make sense to you on paper, or you could translate the table the other way around and put the trials across the top and then put the two different type of Oreo cookies over here on this side. Either way, these two tables are going to give you the exact same graph, so it does not matter how you set it up. The one thing that you will notice it's missing in this table is a unit, and that is on purpose. So we do not have any little letters stuck in here with these numbers, because if you were to put a G next to that 2.2 or a G next to the 4, the chart creator in this program would give you an error. So you want to make sure you take out all your units, and we'll put them in later when we add in labels. So first thing you're going to do is select the chart that you're going to use, the cells that you want to create your table with. And then you can click this Insert Chart button, or if you don't see it on your menu there, you can also go to Insert Chart here. All right, so two things will pop up. One is a chart. They call it a chart. It's really a graph. And then the other is a chart editor. So we're going to go through and customize this because on first glance, it doesn't look too bad. It's got my basic parts that I need. It has my columns for my regular Oreo, my columns for my double stuffed Oreo, and the numbers are over here on the y-axis, so that's good. But there's still quite a few things that I want to change. So if you click over to this Customize button here, you'll see we've got lots of different options that we can customize. The first one in the list is the chart style, which if you wanted to change the background color, you could. I want to make it 3D just so it looks cooler, so that's what I can do there. If you maximize it, to me it's just too big, so I don't like that so much, but I'm going to leave that normal. That's in the Chart Style tab. If you click on the next one, Chart and Axis Titles, that's where we can add in our titles for everything. The first thing I'm going to do is change the whole chart title, or in this case it's the graph. And I want my graph title to be including both the independent and the dependent variable. So I'm going to say how cookie type affects mass filling. And that's just one way to name your graph. There's lots of different ways to do it. And you could change the font here if you want to as well. So that's going to give me my title at the top. And then if I come back to this little drop-down menu, I can change the type that I'm labeling to the horizontal axis title. So I want to give the horizontal axis a title of type of cookie. And it should appear. There it is. And then I want to change the vertical axis title. So I'm going to again pull that little drop-down menu, and this axis is the dependent variable, which is my mass of filling in grams. And I want to include my units here because it's really important to have that, and we don't have it anywhere else. So that's where it's going to go. So that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to close that one out. The next tab that we can customize is the series. There's a few things that you can do. The only one that really makes sense for us is to add data labels, and that's just going to put the number, the value at the top of each bar. So I think that's really helpful for someone to read my graph. So I'm going to check that. And then you can also customize the legend. I'm going to put my legend at the bottom. I think it takes up a little bit less space, and it kind of belongs down here to me because it kind of goes with the axis. So that's where you can do that. That's in the Legend tab. And then you can customize the axes themselves. In the horizontal axis, you could actually change the slant of these labels if you wanted them to kind of tilt a little bit. You can do that. I'm going to change mine to a 30-degree tilt. You could change the text color if you want. You can change the label font if you want. I'm going to leave mine the default. And then the vertical axis is the other thing that I really want to change, because if you notice, my bars don't really look proportional to each other. 2.2 is really close to about half of 4, but these bars are a lot different than half of each other's height. So I'm going to change the axis. I want it to start at 0. So I'm going to come over here to vertical axis, and I'm going to put a minimum value of 0 in, and that should change it well enough. There we go. And my maximum value, you can make this whatever you want. I'm going to leave it at 4. I think that looks really good. And I think that's all I need to do with the vertical axis. The last thing you could do if you really want to is add in some grid lines. These are just some extra little lines in the background to help your eyes figure out how tall these bars are, so that could be helpful. You could change the color of them if you really wanted to, but I'm going to leave the rest of it the same. And so when you click out, you can move this around, and you can see that the graph looks pretty good now. We've got labels, we've got titles, we've got some values on each bar, and it reflects the data really well. So hopefully this little screencast was helpful in you designing your own graph for the Oreo Cookie Lab.